In the golden age of Hollywood, there were queens who captured the admiration of the entire world. They were dazzlingly beautiful, immensely talented, hailed as icons of beauty and fame. On screen, they appeared flawless living dreams for every audience. But behind the spotlight lay a very different truth. These queens passed through the arms of nearly every powerful man in Hollywood. Some became the secret lover of a U.S. president for just one night. Others were branded as the most shameless husband stealers of the decade. And shockingly, a few even lost their lives after nights of wild, reckless affairs. So, who were these queens of Hollywood's golden age? What did they trade away, and what price did they ultimately? 1. Ava Gardner, the woman who brought Sinatra to his knees. Ava Gardner was not only Hollywood's wild cat, she was also one of the most notorious stars rumored to have slept with more men than any other actress of the 1940s and 1950s. From the moment MGM signed her in 1941, Ava quickly learned the industry's unspoken rule: talent alone wouldn't guarantee stardom. She turned herself into a storm of passion. In 1942, at just 19, she married Mickey Rooney. The marriage quickly collapsed. Rooney was addicted to gambling and brothels. Yet whispers claimed Ava wasn't faithful either. She allegedly spent nights with an MGM director while Rooney filmed in New York. One neighbor swore they saw her lights burning past midnight, and the next morning, a young MGM actor slipped out, shirt unbuttoned. By 1945, she wed bandleader Artie Shaw. Known for his temper, Shaw belittled Ava, and she struck back by wielding romance like a weapon. Rumors claim that during their short marriage, she had affairs with at least 5 men, a musician, a producer, 2 young actors, even a visiting politician. Shaw's friends scoffed. Ava didn't need fame from music, she took it from the bedroom. But the peak of scandal came with Frank Sinatra. In 1951, they married, and Hollywood turned into a soap opera. Their love was fierce, their fights explosive, their reconciliations torrid. But Ava didn't confine herself to Sinatra's bed. She still dallied with a Spanish bullfighter in Madrid, a Spanish prince, a Warner Brothers producer, even a wealthy Texas businessman. Gossip claimed that on a single European tour in 1954, Ava bedded 3 different men in 3 cities: Paris, Madrid, Rome. Sinatra was consumed with jealousy. Once he trashed an entire hotel suite after hearing Ava had left a party with an Italian actor. Yet Ava laughed it off. At a Beverly Hills party, when asked why she changed men so often, she smirked. "Because I can, and because they let me." Hollywood columnists joked that Ava's lover list was so long it could fill an entire epic film. She lived like a whirlwind of passion, and every time she appeared, the town trembled. No one knew who she would choose that night. But Ava wasn't the only queen. At the same time, Rita Hayworth, the love goddess, turned Hollywood into her private boudoir with a list of lovers said to be longer than her filmography. 2. Marilyn Monroe, the Hollywood queen and the love affairs that shook America. Marilyn Monroe. The very name became synonymous with Hollywood's allure in the 1950s. From a poor orphanage girl, she skyrocketed into a global sex symbol. On screen, Marilyn reigned as a queen. But behind the spotlight, whispers told another story. She had passed through the arms of nearly every powerful man in Hollywood. Her marriage to baseball legend Joe DiMaggio in 1954 lasted only 9 months. The sports hero couldn't bear the rumors that his wife was secretly meeting with an MGM director and a top-tier movie star. The press sneered Joe as just another name on Marilyn's endless list. By 1956, Marilyn married playwright Arthur Miller. To the public, they embodied the perfect beauty and brains couple. Yet within Hollywood's corridors, people murmured while Miller wrote scripts. Marilyn was busy with clandestine rendezvous with producers and even a few New York politicians. The height of scandal came in May 1962 at Madison Square Garden, when Marilyn sang "Happy Birthday, Mr. President" to John F. Kennedy in a skin-tight gown that shimmered like it was woven from light. The crowd erupted, but backstage the whispers grew louder. She wasn't only entangled with JFK, but also with Robert Kennedy. Some claimed that in just 1 week she spent nights with both brothers, one in the White House, the other at a California villa. Her list of lovers seemed endless. DiMaggio, Miller, John, and Robert Kennedy, then actors, directors, businessmen. Neighbors in Beverly Hills often saw Marilyn leave a party with one man only to return hours later with another. To Hollywood, she was the queen of affairs, turning romance into her weapon of power. On the night of August 5, 1962, Marilyn was found dead in her locked Brentwood bedroom at the age of 36. A pill bottle lay uncapped, a telephone dropped at her side. The press called it the death of a woman who knew too much, accident suicide, or silenced forever. To this day, it remains a mystery. What is certain, Marilyn Monroe lived and died as a true Hollywood queen, glorious, scandalous, and tragic. But Marilyn wasn't the only queen who made Hollywood tremble. Right after her, another dazzling jewel took the stage, Elizabeth Taylor, the woman who wore a wedding dress 8 times and turned every marriage into a public storm of passion. 3. Elizabeth Taylor, the violet-eyed jewel with a restless heart. Elizabeth Taylor, with her legendary violet eyes, was Hollywood's brightest jewel from the late 1940s onward. On screen, she was a goddess of beauty, but off-screen, she was the queen of scandal, turning marriage itself into a stage no less dramatic than her films. From 1950 to 1996, she walked down the aisle 8 times. Each wedding shook Hollywood to its core. The press quipped, "People may forget Elizabeth's movies, but no one forgets how many times she married." In 1959, scandal erupted when Elizabeth stole into the arms of Eddie Fisher, the husband of America's sweetheart Debbie Reynolds, and also her close friend. That golden Hollywood friendship shattered overnight. The public raged, yet Elizabeth strolled out proudly with Fisher defying every word of criticism. Reporters sneered, "Taylor didn't just steal a husband, she stole the very faith in friendship." Then came 1962. On the set of Cleopatra, Elizabeth met Richard Burton. The two fell into such an all-consuming passion that filming had to halt because they couldn't tear themselves away from each other. The Taylor-Burton saga became a legend of love and destruction. Marry, divorce, remarry, and split again. Rumors swirled of diamonds hurled out of hotel windows in fits of rage of Burton so drunk he had to be carried from a room. Director George Stevens once admitted, "When Elizabeth walked onto a set, every man's eyes locked on her. But not just their eyes. Many hearts and many beds were caught in Taylor's orbit. From Fisher to Burton, from producers to businessmen, even politicians, none seemed safe from the violet jewel's pull. Elizabeth Taylor dazzled on red carpets with massive diamonds, but behind the lights lay a whirlwind of scandals, stolen husbands, public fights, lightning-fast marriages. If Marilyn Monroe was the queen of secrets, Elizabeth was the queen of spectacle, turning her love life into a storm the entire world followed. But Hollywood had more. After Elizabeth came Ava Gardner, a wildcat, free-spirited, and untamed, the woman who once brought Frank Sinatra to his knees in despair. 4. Rita Hayworth, the love goddess and her endless affairs. Rita Hayworth, Columbia's brightest star, was crowned the world's love goddess after Gilda 1946. But to Hollywood insiders, Rita was the embodiment of scandal. She changed men as often as her gowns and turned romance into a path to power. Her marriage to Orson Welles, 1943-1947, revealed it all. Welles adored her obsessively, but only a few years later, he bitterly confessed, "I created Gilda." But Rita slept with all of Hollywood. Throughout their marriage, the press buzzed with rumors. Rita had affairs with at least 2 Columbia directors, a young actor and a wealthy businessman. Some even claimed that during her honeymoon, she disappeared from the hotel for 2 nights to meet a mysterious producer in Beverly Hills. The climax came in 1949 when Rita married Prince Ali Khan. The world rejoiced Hollywood's screen siren had become a princess. But only months later, European tabloids captured her with a French actor in a Paris hotel and a British politician in London. A French magazine sneered, "The love goddess doesn't just belong to a prince, she belongs to all of Europe." Rita's list of lovers stretched beyond counting. Whispers mentioned Texas oil tycoons, young Italian directors, American businessmen, even a few powerful statesmen. One Hollywood journalist quipped, "If you're a man with money or power, chances are Rita has already shared your bed." Her scandals weren't limited to love. Divorce after divorce drained her fortune. In 1951, she sold off her jewelry collection to pay court fees. Yet days later, she was photographed leaving a hotel with a new businessman flashing a brand new diamond ring. People muttered, "Rita changes men faster than she changes roles." To the public, Rita was a goddess with 2 faces on screen, the symbol of love. Off-screen, a storm of passion, a love goddess who turned the entire world into her private boudoir. But if Rita was the goddess of love, Lana Turner was Hollywood's scandal queen with a bedroom murder case that rocked the entire industry. 5. Lana Turner, the star who changed lovers like roles. Discovered in 1936, Lana Turner rose from a soda fountain girl to a star overnight. But her true fame didn't lie on the silver screen. It lay in her bedroom. Hollywood reporters said bluntly, "Lana Turner changes men faster than she changes costumes." Her list of lovers seemed endless: baseball players, famous directors, top-tier actors, even mobster Mickey Cohen. One legend claimed that in a single year, Lana publicly dated at least 10 different men, earning her the nickname Hollywood's bedroom queen. Once, after catching her lover with another woman, Lana shocked Hollywood by appearing days later at a grand party on the arm of Tyrone Power. Headlines blared. Before Hollywood could forget the old flame, Lana showed up with a new one. But her biggest scandal was Johnny Stompanato, Lana's gangster boyfriend. Stompanato was notorious for violence and jealousy. During one film shoot, he stormed onto the set and pulled a knife on her co-star. The crew froze in terror while the press feasted on yet another scandal. In April 1958, tragedy struck. Stompanato was stabbed to death in Lana's own bedroom. Police swarmed the scene, reporters surrounded her home. Lana broke down in tears in court, claiming her teenage daughter killed him in self-defense. But whispers lingered. Had Lana herself struck the fatal blow only to pin it on her child? A British paper screamed from bedroom to courtroom, Lana Turner and the love trial of the century. Beyond affairs, Lana was entangled in gambling and debt. Rumors claimed she once lost everything in Las Vegas, then disappeared for days with a crime boss, paying her debt with her very presence. People said Lana treated men like personal banks. If you had money or power, sooner or later you ended up in her bed. Hollywood was both repulsed and fascinated. One columnist wrote, "Whenever Lana Turner walked into a room, men looked up, women looked down, and journalists sharpened their pens." And while Lana's scandals still burned hot, Jean Harlow, The original blonde bombshell shattered Hollywood with whispers that nearly every man in Tinseltown had shared her bed. 6. Jean Harlow, the blonde bombshell and endless rumors. Jean Harlow burst onto the screen in the early 1930s and instantly set Hollywood ablaze. With her platinum hair glowing like fire and lips painted crimson, she was christened the Blonde Bombshell, the first of her kind. But it wasn't just her films that exploded. Her private life was even more shocking. In 1932, Jean married producer Paul Byrne. Only 2 months later, he was found dead in their Beverly Hills mansion, a revolver at his side. Police ruled it suicide, but Hollywood whispered otherwise. Byrne had caught Jean in bed with a young actor inside their own home. Neighbors swore they heard shouting, even a struggle before the gunshot rang out. Paul Byrne's death became one of Hollywood's greatest mysteries, and Jean was recast, from sex symbol to scandal queen. Yet Jean didn't stop. Rumors swirled that she slept with Clark Gable William Powell, and at least 3 MGM producers to secure starring roles. A New York reporter once wrote Jean Harlow blazes on screen, but off-screen she keeps half of Hollywood awake at night. One infamous tale claims that in 1935 at a Beverly Hills party, Jean slipped away from the ballroom. Within 2 hours, 3 different men were seen leaving her room one by one, a director, a journalist, and a young actor. The next morning, headlines screamed Jean Harlow, queen who changes lovers faster than dresses. Her early death in 1937, at just 26, only fanned the fire. Mourners grieved, but whispers grew louder. Jean Harlow died because she lived too hard. An anonymous doctor even hinted, had she not lived at the pace of changing men as fast as roles, her health might never have collapsed so quickly. Jean Harlow left behind the image of Hollywood's bedroom queen, stunning, rebellious, and with a lover list so long no one could count it. And if Jean was Hollywood's early explosion, Zsa Zsa Gabor would prove that affairs could burn for a lifetime, across 9 infamous marriages. 7. Zsa Zsa Gabor, the star with 9 famous marriages. If Jean Harlow was a flame that burned bright and died young, Zsa Zsa Gabor smoldered for half a century. Born in Hungary in 1917, she arrived in Hollywood in 1942 and immediately turned heads. Regal beauty, extravagant style, a sugary tongue. And above all, she knew how to conquer men. Zsa Zsa married 9 times. Among her husbands were Giants hotel tycoon Conrad Hilton, a Texas oil baron, even a European prince. The press mocked each decade. Zsa Zsa collects a few more wedding rings. But the weddings were only the surface. The real shock lay beneath. Whispers said that beyond her 9 husbands, Zsa Zsa had dalliances with Washington politicians and Hollywood A-listers alike. In 1955, at a lavish Beverly Hills party, she was spotted leaving with an oil magnate, only to return an hour later on the arm of a rising young actor. Gossip roared. Zsa Zsa doesn't need to choose. She takes them all. In one famous TV interview, when asked about her love life, Zsa Zsa smiled sweetly. "I'm a wonderful housekeeper. Every time I leave a man, I keep his house." The line became legendary, but everyone in Hollywood knew the truth. Her lovers outside of marriage easily doubled her husbands. In Beverly Hills, Zsa Zsa reigned as the bedroom queen. Where there was a party, she was there. Where there was a powerful man, her footprints followed. An aging director once sighed, "When she walks into a room, you know exactly who won't be going home tonight." And yet, compared to Joan Crawford, accused of using her love life as a ladder to the top, Zsa Zsa's scandals were still not the darkest stain in Hollywood's history. 8. Joan Crawford, the star. Accused of using the bedroom as a ladder, Joan Crawford was MGM's reigning queen of strong female roles. But what kept Hollywood buzzing was not only her acting, It was how she allegedly climbed the ranks through her bedroom. From chorus dancer to A-list star, Joan's rise was meteoric. Hollywood whispered there isn't a single MGM boss Joan hasn't dated at least once. The most infamous rumor came from a 1934 yacht trip to Miami with MGM mogul Louis B. Mayer. Right after that voyage, Joan suddenly landed 3 consecutive starring roles, all box office hits. And Mayer wasn't alone. Joan's list stretched from directors and producers to leading men. Some claimed she even kept a diary of her appointments. 3 different men, 3 different days in a row. Strangely, every time her calendar filled up, her career leapt forward. By the 1940s, Joan's star began to fade. Then came Mildred Pierce, 1945. The role revived her career and won her an Oscar. But whispers swirled again had Joan made a deal with a Warner Brothers executive to secure it. One rival actress sneered, Joan didn't just act in movies, she acted in bedrooms, and that was her most important role. Even with age, Joan never abandoned her reputation for using love to maintain power. In the 1950s, when her career declined, she was rumored to be involved with a younger businessman who supplied her with glamorous parties and media coverage. Joan Crawford left behind an iconic legacy, but the public remembers her not only as a movie star, she was Hollywood's bedroom queen, a woman who turned romance into the ladder of power. Yet if Crawford chose power, her fierce rival Bette Davis turned love into battlefields as turbulent as her fiery on-screen roles. 9. Bette Davis, the fiery star and her tangled loves. Bette Davis wasn't just Warner Brothers' queen. She was a star Hollywood both admired and feared. With her piercing eyes and sharp voice, she embodied strength on screen. Off-screen, her love life was a storm. In 1939, headlines exploded. Bette Davis was entangled in an affair with director William Wyler, who was already married. On the set of Jezebel 1938, the two often vanished for hours, leaving the crew idle. A witness recalled, "They came back with wrinkled shirts and smeared makeup. Everyone knew what had happened." In the 1940s, Davis plunged into a messy triangle with actor George Brent and a Warner Brothers producer. The chaos spilled onto the set. In 1942, during filming, Davis and Brent argued so furiously the director halted production. Their shouting echoed across the lot, and gossip columns ran wild. Some even claimed she dragged the producer into the feud, turning the movie into a literal bedroom drama. Hollywood insiders said Davis often used romance as a weapon. One columnist wrote, "Bette Davis didn't just sleep with men for love, she slept to win." Rumors spread that in her prime, nearly every male actor at Warner, from A-list stars to bit players, had shared her bed. Davis never outright denied it. When pressed about her affairs, she smirked. "A woman like me, men can't resist. If they fall into my arms, that's not my fault." That bluntness made her both fascinating to the public and feared by her peers. If Bette Davis turned the bedroom into a power game, Clara Bow transformed it into a hurricane of passion so wild the press called her the woman who knew all of Hollywood, in bed. 10. Clara Bow, the it girl with a scandalous lover list. Before Marilyn Monroe, Clara Bow was Hollywood's first sex bomb. After her 1927 film It, she was crowned the It Girl, cinema's first true sex symbol of the silent era. But Clara was remembered not only for her big eyes and playful smile. Her list of lovers was so long no one could count. In 1930, U.S. newspapers splashed her love list across front pages. Names included star Gary Cooper, director Victor Fleming, even famous football players. One reporter quipped Clara Bow knew all of Hollywood in the bedroom. Legend says Clara hosted private parties in the Hollywood Hills where music played loud and the lights went out early. A servant recalled, "One night she disappeared with two men. By morning, both staggered out of her room, while Clara laughed as if she'd just watched a comedy show. Rumors claimed she took over 20 lovers in a single year, from actors and athletes to directors and wealthy businessmen willing to pay just for one night with the it girl. But Clara never hid it. She once declared, 'I loved too much,' and Hollywood never forgives a woman like that." Her words became immortal. To the public, Clara Bow was a star both liberated and notorious, a woman who dared to live passionately but paid the price with a career cut short. And if Clara Bow burned Hollywood with storms of desire, Barbara Payton became its tragic example. Her affairs dragged her from dazzling heights to the gutter in only a few years. 11. Barbara Payton, a career destroyed by a scandalous love triangle. Barbara Payton, the fiery beauty of the early 1950s, was once hailed as Hollywood's next great queen. With hypnotic blue eyes, a sweet smile, and curves that made producers turn their heads, her career seemed destined to soar. But everything collapsed in the wake of one of the most humiliating scandals in Hollywood history. In 1951, Barbara was simultaneously involved with two very different men, Franchot Tone, a refined aristocratic actor who looked as if he had stepped out of a tailor's shop, and Tom Neal, a hot-tempered, jealous brute who preferred fists to words. Gossip claimed Barbara delighted in this tightrope act, playing both men like pawns in a dangerous game. But it all exploded one fateful September night. In a jealous rage, Neal attacked Tone, beating him so savagely that Tone collapsed with a battered, swollen face and was rushed to the hospital in critical condition. The next morning, newspapers screamed "Tone beaten for love." Hollywood in shock. Audiences were horrified, pitying Franchot Tone while condemning Barbara as the woman at the center of a blood-soaked love triangle in the heart of Tinseltown. From that moment, Barbara's career nosedived. Studios severed contracts. Directors refused to hire her colleagues, avoided her as if she carried a plague. But the nightmare didn't end there. Rumors swirled that Barbara continued tumbling into overlapping affairs, a middle-aged director clinging to fading fame, a washed-up actor drowning in cheap liquor, even shady businessmen from LA's underworld. The humiliation grew grotesque. Within a single 24-hour period, Barbara was spotted leaving a Sunset Boulevard hotel with two different men, one slipping out at midnight, another emerging the next morning. Her final years were steeped in alcohol, drugs, and crushing poverty. A journalist once described her descent from a million-dollar starlet. Barbara Payton ended her days in dingy rented rooms, where neon light no longer illuminated her beauty, but only revealed the ruin of a once famous face. Whispers claimed she survived by selling her body to strangers who knocked on her door late at night. Barbara Payton became Hollywood's cruelest cautionary tale in Tinseltown. A sex scandal can make you a headline, but in the blink of an eye, it can bury you forever. And if Payton's story ended in disgrace, Ingrid Bergman, a true screen legend, chose a different path. She dared to defy society itself, flaunting her affair in broad daylight, even under the gaze of the U.S. Congress. 13. Gloria Swanson, the silent queen with powerful lovers. Gloria Swanson, the silent film diva of the 1920s, was hailed as Hollywood's untouchable goddess. Yet for her, the camera's light was only part of the spotlight. Her true stage was the bedroom where power and money were often negotiated under silk sheets. Her most infamous affair was with Joseph Kennedy, father of future President John F. Kennedy. In Palm Beach at the end of the 1920s, the two would vanish for days aboard luxury yachts, drinking champagne and indulging in fevered nights. Rumor claimed Kennedy bankrolled Gloria's films in exchange for her secret presence in his life. But Kennedy was just one of many. Gloria's list stretched from A-list actors to Wall Street moguls. One columnist remarked bitterly, "If Hollywood is a kingdom, Gloria's bed is its throne." Some tales even claimed she juggled two affairs at once, one with a New York financier, another with a Los Angeles actor, and both men accepted it. Behind the scenes, Gloria was known for her cold calculation. She would receive lovers in her French-style mansion curtains drawn champagne on ice. For her, every tryst was a chess match, and she always won. When the silent era died, many stars faded. But Gloria roared back in Sunset Boulevard 1950, playing a fallen star in a role that eerily mirrored her life. The film triumphed, but audiences whispered, "Is Gloria acting or just living?" Though celebrated as a great artist, Gloria Swanson remained in public memory as Hollywood's scandal queen, the woman who turned her bed into a throne of power for over 2 decades. Even now, the question lingers, how far did she go, and how many powerful men truly surrendered to her? 14. Jane Mansfield, the bold beauty with a noisy private life. Jane Mansfield, the dazzling star of the 1950s, was branded Marilyn Monroe's successor. With her bouffant blonde hair, sultry curves, and a smile both innocent and calculating, she became Hollywood's second blonde bombshell, one who knew exactly how to explode on her own. Unlike other actresses who tried to protect their modest image, Jane wielded scandal as publicity. The press dubbed her the Queen of Stunts, from deliberately flashing before cameras to crashing A-list parties just to land on front pages. Yet what Hollywood gossiped about most was her love life. Officially married 3 times, Jane was linked to a flood of affairs. Her rumored lovers ranged from boxers and rock singers to A-list actors and top producers. Tabloids sneered every party Jane attends guarantees another name on her list the next morning. In 1957, she shocked the world seated next to Sophia Loren at a Beverly Hills banquet. The photo of her plunging neckline became a European sensation. But that night, whispers claimed she vanished with an Italian producer, then reappeared hours later with a U.S. boxer, only to be spotted by dawn with a wealthy businessman. In just 24 hours, Jane allegedly passed through at least 3 powerful men. Her death in a horrific 1967 car crash at age 34 immortalized her scandalous legend. Mansfield was remembered not only as a sultry actress, but as an icon of boldness, a woman who wielded sex and scandal as weapons to keep her name alive in Hollywood history. If Jane proved scandal could make a legend, then Hedy Lamarr was the paradox of beauty and genius, a bedroom queen who mesmerized and unsettled Hollywood alike. 15. Hedy Lamarr, the divine beauty with endless affairs. Hedy Lamarr, once hailed as the most beautiful woman in the world, arrived in Hollywood in the late 1930s like a miracle. Her perfect beauty left crowds breathless, but behind the glow was a swirl of affairs that kept the town buzzing. Almost as soon as she set foot in America, she was enveloped by aviation tycoon Howard Hughes, who showered her with mansions, sports cars, even a private plane. Rumor said Hughes was so smitten, he let Hedy meddle in his engineering projects. Skeptics scoffed. In exchange, Hughes had Hedy in his bed. The gossip didn't stop. In the 1940s, the tabloids linked her to Spencer Tracy, Clark Gable, MGM moguls, even Washington politicians. Servants whispered. Every night, the mansion was like a train station, famous men in and out. Yet by morning, Hedy appeared flawless, smiling as though nothing had happened. The irony beyond scandal, Hedy was a genius. In 1942, she co-invented spread spectrum technology, the basis of Wi-Fi, GPS, and Bluetooth. Yet the public dismissed her. How could a bedroom beauty be an inventor? Hedy Lamarr became Hollywood's paradox, a dazzling star, a scandalous lover, and a mind far ahead of her time. To this day, people ask, what was her truest role? Starlet inventor or the woman who made the world bow? If Hedy embodied the paradox of beauty and intellect, Gloria Swanson, Hollywood's silent screen queen, proved that the bedroom itself could be a throne of power. Scandalous affairs, whirlwind marriages, and whispered secrets once shook Hollywood to its core. But they also turned these women into legends. These queens lived without restraint, loved with reckless passion, and left us not only unforgettable performances, but also backstage stories the world will never stop wondering about. And now it's your turn. Among these 15 faces who surprised you the most. Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to hit subscribe to uncover more shocking secrets behind Hollywood's dazzling lights.